So in this video, we're going to check out episode 2 of the bootcamp series for the Korg Electribe 2. Make sure to watch the previous episodes since we're building up from the first. So if you get lost, just start from the first episode. It's recommended that if you want to understand all of these features to watch these videos at least once a day until these things become second nature. Even if you take out 5 minutes a day, you'll see big results in no time. Let's turn it on. Turn the knob until you see init pattern. If you don't see it on your screen, just try turning the knob left until it shows up. We're in trigger mode. Just like the first episode, the top row are all synths and the bottom are all drums. We're going to expand on the workflow we showed in the last video. Let's set it up. Previously we used the metronome. This time, let's turn off the metronome. Hold shift and press the lower right pad, and then turn the knob to off. Now let's set the scale by holding shift and pressing touch scale. Let's choose Lydian. Now let's choose the master effects. So hold shift, press master effects. Let's turn the knob to 04, Hall reverb. Enable MFX hold and max it out by touching the upper left of the pad. By default, MFX send is enabled on all tracks. So I want to leave it on for all of the synths. And then the drums, I want it off. So just press the button and disable it. Now that's not going to be going through the effects. Whereas here, you can hear it's affected. We can rapidly do this. Just press part, disable, and just repeat until all of them have no effects. So it's just nice to know you can toggle that on or off depending on which track we're in. We can do anything for each track, but for this example, I want to set up all the synths to be in mono mode, which means it's going to record and perform a single note per track. It can lead to some different results than if we're in polyphonic mode. There isn't a direct shortcut for this, so we're just going to press shift and the lower left pad. We see here what screen we're on, groove depth. Just press the right arrow. Now we can see voice assign. It's currently set to poly 2. Now let's just choose mono 2. What that does is it re-triggers every time we press another note. So I'm going to choose that for all the top synth tracks. So press part, then turn it, mono 2. Just repeat the process until it's all set. I also want to enable the scale mode for all of these, so later on we can transpose the tracks. But there's no shortcut for that either. So let's press shift, and the fourth pad from the left it says step edit. Just do arrow over 1. It says scale mode, and let's turn it on. And we repeat the process for all of the synth tracks. If we did it to the drum tracks, then the drums would scale if we transposed it. Now we should save this to a new pattern so that we can have our own starting point that we can easily work from. We can make every track here a different sound. We can have drum here, synth here, whatever you want. So you can fully customize all the tracks. So each track has a lot of different controls. We can mold each sound to our liking, and we can create our own template that we can easily access. So let's press shift and right. So now it says enter name, and from here we can turn the knob. There's no way to make this fast, so I'm just going to turn the knob all the way to the left until it's clear. I'm going to press the right arrow and then repeat the process. Doesn't make it any faster if you hold down shift. Now this is taking quite some time, but I only have to do this once. So let's just keep clearing every letter so that it's blank. And that way it'll be easy to name things as we go. Now I'm going to arrow all the way back to the beginning. Now that it's fully blank, I'm just going to press right again. Now it says select destination. If we press right, it's going to start writing over this pattern. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is turn past all these extra patterns that I created. Now here's one of the factory ones. I'm just going to press right, and now it's saved in that spot. Just be very careful not to overwrite something that you want to keep. We can repeat this process when we want to save it later. So we can always enter into this, and it's blank and ready to go. First I want to clear the kick drum. So I'm going to hold down shift, count in the third one in. Just memorize this. We're always going to use a clear sequence. So we have this selected. Press enter. Now it's clear. So we're just going to hold it here because that's the rhythm I want. I'm going to hold this down. Now it should be recording. Now let's just turn off the record. Now that's just been recorded in. Now let's turn on amp envelope, enable record, and just turn the decay. Now let's hold down Shift and press tap. Now we have the BPM. Let's turn it down. Now recording will now overwrite this single note in this mode, which changes how it works. So let's just press record. Let's just start playing. Now let's add another note here. You can see it just overwrites. Let's start with some drums. Now I'm just going to choose this pad and turn left, and this one, turn it right. So you can hear the snares are playing in different speakers. Shift, count 3 over, clear sequence, press enter. So let's choose a different gate ARP. Enable record, and then we're just going to play with this. So as you can see, it overwrote. You can see it brings in, if there's a little gap between the notes, it'll start playing. Turn the cutoff down on these and on the kick drum. Change the oscillator. MPG. And we're going to go back to here. Let's clear it. Shift. Clear sequence. Now let's add insert effects or IFX. Insert effects applies per track, and we have one knob that changes the sound. I'm not going to go through all of these, we're just going to show a couple of them in this episode. Let's go to the kick sound, and let's say I want to boost that. So I'm just going to enable IFX, and we're going to turn, then just turn to 9, low EQ, and then just turn it all the way up. Let's turn it off, and then back on. Off. You can also mix it to whatever works for you. I'm going to turn it all the way up. Now let's go to the hi-hat. And what I want to do is make it repeat. So what I'm going to do is turn this to number 23, which is 1 delay. And if we press the hi-hat, I can change the value here. Turn it down, it's a shorter delay. Now let's press play. I can hear on or off. So we can make it go really fast. So you can record that in. So if I enable record, press play. Now it's recorded in. If I really want to mess it up, I can actually record the edit knob. So if I enable record, this is going to glitch out the sound. So I'm going to press play. And let's just change the edit here. So you can hear it glitching out a little bit. Now we're going to check out how to change to 2 bar tracks. 4 bars is the maximum per pattern, but eventually we're going to show longer bars and how to chain patterns to make very long sequences. So the beat that's in here, I want to copy out twice. So we're going to hold Shift, press the second pad in from the upper left. It says length. Let's turn it to 2. Whenever you have a bar of length 1 and then change it, as long as the bars are blank, it will copy each bar out automatically. So let's go to sequencer and hold down the kick drum, for example. I'm going to press play. And while it's playing, we can see there's a blue light and it's changing 1 to 2. That's bar 1 or 2. Now the red, bar 1. So that's what we're looking at. If I go to bar 2, it's the same pattern. Let's change it up. Now let's go into the snare. So sequencer, snare, and we're in bar 2 still. So I'm going to make it play twice here. And we're going to change to this part. Maybe we'll add some there. Let's turn down the cutoff even more on the hi-hat. We can switch between bars, for example 3 and 4, even if it's not set in length. I'm just going to improvise a little bit just to illustrate 2 bars and what we can do using mono record. Now keyboard, and we're selected. We selected the first synth. Enable record. Then we have gate ARP. Let's see what pattern we're on. We'll change it to 12. Now I'm going to press shift, 3 pads in from the bottom. Clear sequence. I'm just going to leave that up just in case I want to clear what I'm doing. Let's turn off the send. I'm going to turn on amp EG for this one. Turn down decay. Let's just record. Now let's turn this down. Shift and pitch. We're going to make it glide. Now there's a little gap in there, but I kind of like it. So there's some mistakes sometimes, but you just have to roll with it. Let's turn down the filter. Turn up the EG. Turn up resonance. Turn filter down. Let's turn the IFX here. Let's play around with 23, 1 delay. Let's just enable it. Now let's turn it and see what happens. So it kind of glitches it out a little. Now I can turn it on and off. Let's hold down shift, press clear sequence. We're just clearing all of these sequences here. Now I'm going to press right. And I want to overwrite that template, because this is blank and there's a beat already in here. So press right. Now we have different settings that we've made. The drums are all set up the way that we want them. So now what we're going to do is check out modulation. So in order to understand this, we're going to be applying waveform shapes to different parameters. So you can record motion in, and then this is on top of that. It's kind of like automated motion. So the first parameter is filter, and then we have pitch, oscillator edit, level or volume, pan, or IFX. Now let's choose pitch. And what I'm going to do is go into the keyboard. We can hear what it's doing. So we can hear it's not just a regular note anymore. It's bending to an envelope. And this is independent from this envelope. So let's turn down depth. Now we can hear what it's doing, and we can turn speed up or down. So it's really fast or longer. really long. Or we can automate that as well. So if I hold down Shift and turn modulation, so we have envelope plus BPM. So in other words, the speed operates based on the beat that we have. Hold down Shift, turn modulation. Now envelope negative. Now it's going the other way now. Here, BPM, same thing. Then we have LFO triangle. Now this is a triangle wave. So depth, as it goes up, you can hear it's applying the pitch. You can go all the way up, and the speed you can turn up. Now all these can be automated. So the depth and the speed. Now let's hold down Shift, turn modulation. Now we have LFO triangle B. So B, it goes to the beat. So let's turn the depth up and then the speed up. Now if I press play, it should be to the beat. Now let's switch. Now we have saw up to the beat. So let's turn that up. You can hear the saw wave. Depth. And then the speed. Now that's automatically to the beat. So let's illustrate that. You can hear it bouncing to the beat. Shift modulation. Now saw downwards. Same thing. Right to the beat. Now we have square up to the beat. So that's going to apply depending on how high or low the notes will change. You can change the speed. Shift modulation. Square down. So it's just going in the opposite direction. Now you can make it a little musical if you just keep it subtle. Turn down the depth and play with the speed. Just really low values. Now we have sample and hold. That's also to the beat. So that's kind of like a random. You can turn it up, turn up the speed. Next, random. So you can change the speed. It's just going to random spots. Now let's turn the oscillator until we're at square sync. Now if we turn the edit right here, you can hear the sync sound. So let's just turn modulation till we see oscillator. So this is on the random. Let's turn up the depth. So now it's changing. Let's change the speed. Let's change the shape. So let's try envelope generator. Let's turn the depth up, turn the speed long. I'll turn the depth down, maybe the speed up a little. Change the oscillator, sync saw. And change the edit from here. Now let's change it to a triangle. Turn the speed up, turn the depth up. That changes it too. So there's a lot of different things we can do. Saw up, let's see what that does. So right here I chose sine wave, and on modulation I have it saw down B, which means it's beat synced to the level or volume. So if I hold it down, you can hear we have the depth all the way up, and we have the speed, which is synced to the beat. So I already recorded a very basic bass line to it. It's just me holding down the pads. You can play up here. Now let's record. Added a note up here. I just record. It's going to record right over it. Let's record those notes in. Saw up B oscillator. Turn up the depth. Let's enable master effects. Now let's turn this to where it's short delay. Turn on IFX. Turn up the filter. If I go to trigger, we can see each track that's playing. Now what I'm going to do is press part mute. Now from here, we can toggle the mute between all of the tracks. So let's try that out. Press play. Let's take out the kick drum, snares, hi-hat. Let's take out some of these clips. Let's just mute out some of these. So we can unmute tracks to build up, and then mute to take down. Hold down shift and press part mute. Now they all kick in immediately. Now if I press part mute again, we can solo. And then we can start building up. So I add the drums. Say I want to go back to just this. Part mute's blinking. That means we're going to solo right back to here. And get ready. Shift part mute. Here we go. So again, from part mute, we can just mute, unmute. If we press it again, it's going to blink, and then we can solo any track. Shift part mute enables them all back again. I can also just hold down part mute and then press a pad. We can also latch groups of pads to toggle. So let's just disable all the drums right now. And then what I'm going to do is hold down these tracks, make sure we're in gate ARP, and we're going to tap right here. So it just re-enabled them. So now I can press play. Now I can also, let's say, add these, and then tap again. Now we just switched to those. You can also just enable. Let's say I want all this. Let's mute that one out, and I press, it's gone. Just keep that in mind. So you can use that when you perform if you want. Let's say I want to toggle from here to here. So we're going to press all 4 pads, tap, and now if I tap again, it's going to switch. Now again, if we manually add something, like the drums, now I tap and that latch is gone. For set clear sequence, I'm going to press enter. We're going to clear all these out. And also, I want to go into shift, clear motion on the hi-hat. So that's going to turn off the IFX that I had. Now I want to write this. We're just going to overwrite that template. So now I have a blank pattern. More things have changed. So we went over how to change the voice settings on your synth to make all the tracks mono. You can change the master effects holding shift master effects. Shift touch scale changes the scale. Also shift and the 4th pad in changes the scale. Same shortcut. Learn how to add insert effects. We can change it with the edit, and there's a whole lot of effects we didn't go over yet. Also, we went over modulation. You can even apply modulation to drums. To change the parameter, you can just turn from these few sections. And then if you want to quickly change the different shapes, you just hold down shift and turn modulation. So I want it to be level. Let's switch it to squared down. So it adds a real crazy sound to it. You can do a little bit of depth just to make it sound a little weird. Let's press play. So you can hear, it adds a little variety here. Let's try modulation on the pitch. Let's try random pitch on the hi-hat. See what that sounds like. Let's turn the depth down, the speed down. So it adds a nice little change there. We also went over how to change length, shift, 2nd pad in. Currently doing 2 bars. And from sequencer, we can switch between the bars this way. The blue light shows where the pattern's playing from. Now I didn't show this yet, but if you press shift and then you count 4 from the left, you see key. So we can change that, and that's going to change. We can transpose, so this will transpose whatever scale we have set. There's going to be more we're going to go over, and I'm just going to improvise a little bit with the new features and see what happens. So stay tuned for more episodes.